they just got engaged. Place is called Uniondale. Huh? I'll be here all night. Thank you.
Life. However, just a year later, Pretorius found a
Welcome to BPG Plays. Welcome to BPG Plays on Big Papa G. Huh? That's me. Thank you for pressing the play button. And while you were pressing and, clickety click, don't forget to press the subscribe button too. Lots of really cool Friday the 13th videos, as well as reaction videos to, paranormal activity, court and camp, that sort of thing. So thank you very much. You damn beautiful thing, for swinging by. Appreciate it. Let's check out the five creepiest and most haunted places in South Africa by a little channel. Well, not so little. Top fives. Got like 5 billion subscribers. You've probably heard of them before. So it's not just horror, they do lots of other top fives. But I found this one and I really want to check it out. On this Friday the 13th. 5 creepiest and most haunted places in South Africa. Top 5. Thank you very much. Let's press play. Press play, goddammit!
From haunted hotels, castles and libraries to a legendary seafarer's tale, South Africa has the whole lot.
Yep.
So many, in fact, it was hard to narrow
history.
it down to just 5. But here we look at some of the most popular and persistent ghostly encounters in a country that seems to be saturated with them. So hit those lights, sit back and enjoy.
Quick, to support what the dude is saying. Everybody, would claim to be having some sort of paranormal activity and that sort of thing. But South Africa is crazy when it comes to it because of its dark history and dark past with colonization, gentrification of land that had taken place, slaves. It's also, unfortunately, one of the highest murder rate capitals of the world, so to speak. There's just an eerie sense in the air in so many places because of its dark past and dark history. So definitely South Africa is one of those places where it's going to be absolutely nuts in terms of spiritual activity. Continue.
Castle of Good Hope in South Africa.
Oh snap! This is literally like
now this place is riddled with
me. I can walk
ghosts,
there.
all with their own reasons to be there. The Castle of Good Hope is located in Cape Town and is a 17th century bastion fort and is the oldest and largest colonial building in South Africa.
A couple of times.
It was initially used as a replenishment station for ships passing through the treacherous waters off the Cape, and at high tide its moat fills with water. It's a fascinating place and has a long history of death and torture, and is infamous for its dungeon known as the Dark Hole, where prisoners were kept and tortured.
Yes, I've been in there, and you walk into those torture rooms and you just feel this claustrophobic feeling, not because of the tight space. There's just something heavy in those rooms. So definitely.
However, it was not unusual for them to drown before they met their punishment. When flood water poured in during rainy periods, the first ghost at the castle made an appearance in 1915 when a tall unknown man was spotted on the castle's battlements. It said the apparition glowed and was seen jumping off the castle walls, leaning over a parapet and walking between bastions. He was a regular visitor for several years before he suddenly disappeared and wasn't seen again until 1947, when it said he hung around for just 2 weeks. The old bell tower that overlooks the castle is also said to be haunted by a ghost who in the 1700s was found hanging from a bell rope. After his death, the bell tower was sealed off, but ever since, the bell can be heard ringing at random times, and many believe the spirit of the soldier is responsible. Another famous ghost seen at the castle is known as the Lady in Grey. She started appearing after a female skeleton was unearthed during excavations at the Old Sally Gates.
Oh shit.
The Lady in Grey is seen holding her hands and crying hysterically as she runs through the
Anything
castle.
ever caught on cam?
She even made her presence felt during a royal visit in 1947 when Princess Elizabeth and her sister Margaret were in Cape Town for her 21st birthday. It's said that several members of the entourage, including Princess Margaret, saw her ghost.
South Africa was
The most romantic ghost of the
British
castle
colony at one
is
point,
believed
yeah?
to be Lady Anne
Hence the
Bernard,
visit.
a colourful character with distinctive wild curly hair who lived in the castle in the 18th century. She was married to a man much younger than herself and was the colony's first lady. Her ghost has been seen in the pool area where she was known to bath.
Shit.
She has also appeared as an uninvited
Feel like
guest
I need
at
to go and
parties
spend,
given at the
an
castle
overnight.
to honour distinguished guests.
You know?
Other activity in the castle
Do the
includes
whole
lights
camera
going
thing
on and
and
off in the
what-
dungeon area, and arguing heard in the old guard room when there is no one in there. Outside the castle, the apparition of a black hound is a common occurrence. The dog has been known to pounce on visitors before vanishing.
One could just be an actual dog.
And if that wasn't enough, the castle also has a curse that involves a former governor who in April 1729 wrongfully sentenced 7 soldiers to death for desertion
Shit.
after he overruled a court's more lenient sentence. One of the condemned soldiers called for justice from the gallows and demanded the governor attend the hanging. But when he didn't show up, the soldier put a curse on him, and later that day the governor was found dead, slouched over his desk. Witnesses say he had a look of sheer terror on his face.
Is that urban legend or for real?
He was buried in an unmarked
it'd be interesting
grave,
to know.
and he supposedly haunts the castle to this day.
That castle
The Flying Dutchman
receives
wreck at Cape
thousands
Point.
of visitors each day.
You've
so
probably all
there's
heard
gotta
the
be
name,
something on
the
camera.
Flying Dutchman. After all, it's appeared in Pirates of the Caribbean, SpongeBob SquarePants, and many other films, books, and operas.
A few more
However,
minutes
few
let
know
go.
where it originated from, and the story behind it, and why it's the most feared ghost ship in the seafaring community. The Cape of Good Hope in South Africa is known for its terrifying storms
Yes.
and treacherous rocks, and many a ship has been lost around its beautiful but deceptive coastline.
Yes.
But hundreds of years ago, trading ships from Europe heading to Asia had no alternative but to pass through the dangerous route. In 1641, Dutchman Hendrik van der Decken
What?
and his crew were returning from Holland from the Far East,
Hendrik van der
and like all
Who?
trade ships then, had to navigate the dangerous passage around Cape Hope. As they approached, a storm brewed,
As you can see, the
and the
table
captain
mounts there.
begged
The
Van
table
der
is a little bit
Decken
smaller,
not to sail
you
around
know.
the Cape.
In the
But he was a
1600s.
determined and possibly arrogant man, who had no fear of facing the turbulent waters and howling winds, and he vowed he would sail around the Cape, even if it took him until doomsday to accomplish it. Legend has it that at this point an angel appeared to Van der Decken, and in a panic he shot at it with his pistol. His action sealed the ship's fate, as Van der Decken and his crew lost their lives in the reckless attempt. Their ship smashed to pieces and vanished beneath the swirling waves,
Yes.
and all that is left now is the ghost of the ship and its fallen crew, doomed to sail the seas forever. Known as the Flying Dutchman, those who have witnessed it say it appears as a ghostly glowing ship, and apparently it's a warning to other travellers
Flying
not to
Dutchman?
attempt the passage around the Cape of Good Hope. But
Ignorance.
sailors believe it's a
Oh,
sign
yeah, I
of
didn't know that
misfortune,
was,
and that the phantom ship
Flying
is a
Dutchman
bad
had South
omen,
African
and a warning
affiliations.
they would not see land again. Although the ship is predominantly witnessed around the Cape, it has also been seen in other seas,
Yes.
and the Flying Dutchman continues to haunt the Cape and surrounding areas, even to this day.
Yeah.
So if you ever find yourself on the beach on South Africa's southern coast, have a look out to sea, as you may catch a glimpse of the infamous ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman.
With Captain Barbosa.
The ghost of Uniondale. Uniondale is a small, unremarkable town in the Western Cape Province,
Pirates of the Caribbean
and if it wasn't for its
reference.
famous ghost story, very few people would have heard of it. The story goes that on the 12th of April
Heard about this
1968, a recently engaged couple named Maria Rue and G.M. Pretorius were travelling to Riversdale to break the happy news to their families. Maria was asleep on the back seat of the car when Pretorius lost control of the vehicle on the road just outside of Uniondale.
Snap.
Pretorius was severely
What a
injured but survived,
coincidence that-
but Maria sadly lost her.
This happened in a place, they just got engaged. A place is called Uniondale? Huh? I'll be here all night. Thank you.
life. However, just a year later, Pretorius found a new love and got married,
Yeah.
and that is when reports started circulating of a dark-haired woman in white. hitching a lift near the
I
accident
don't
spot.
blame the dude, huh?
Unsuspecting motorists were
It was only
stopping
him,
and picking her up.
You know, they left behind.
But a few minutes into the journey,
Move on.
they would hear a shrill laugh, the sound of a door closing, and feel an icy chill over them. And when they looked towards their passenger, she had vanished. She became known as the ghost of Mariah Rue, and at one time,
Maria
she was
or
appearing
Mariah?
so often that the local police department kept sugar water available to calm motorists who came into contact with her. However, in 1984, the sightings inexplicably stopped, and it was discovered that Pretorius himself had also died in a car accident in 1984.
Oh,
It said
shit.
Mariah was finally at peace, reunited with her lost love.
Damn.
Mikey's Fontaine, South Africa. The old
What
town
did
of
you just
Mikey's
say?
Fontaine in the Western Cape is the
Mikey's
location of the double-storey Milner Hotel,
Friends Fountain?
which was built in 1899
That looks
at the
creepy.
start of the South African War. The hotel was used as a military hospital during the conflict with Britain, and the hotel turret was used as a lookout post, and its past is thought to be responsible for its resident ghost.
Okay.
First there is the ghost of Kate, a 19-year-old war nurse who loved to play cards with her patients, but she mysteriously passed away at a young age, and she now supposedly haunts the hotel and has been seen staring from the hotel's turret. She also has her own room on the second floor, known as Kate's Card Room, where she can be heard gently shuffling cards.
Oh,
However,
shit.
Kate is not the only ghost at the Lord Milner. It is also haunted by the ghost of James Logan, who built the hotel and was the founder of the town. He has supposedly been spotted many times in the lounge area of the hotel. In the hallway, there is also the ghost
Nice
of Lucy,
decor, huh?
a young girl wearing a
Interior
nightgown
designer,
who can be
ghost
heard
person?
sobbing over a lover's tiff. She is said to be a friendly ghost who favours a room on the first floor, as there is speculation that this is where she died. If any of you have ever stayed at this hotel,
Multiple
then I would love to hear your
spirits.
experiences and how creepy you found it.
Ooh, wonder where that is. What is it, Lord Milner?
Africana Research
Yeah?
Library in Kimberley. The Kimberley Public Library is located in Northern Cape and was built in 1882. It was a spectacular building with a wrought iron gallery, a spiral staircase, and
pretty cool.
glittering chandeliers. It also housed some of the world's most sought after books. In 1900, Bertrand Dyer sailed from England to South Africa. He had previously worked for the Queen's Library in London and was a well-respected librarian. He was Kimberley's first qualified librarian and quickly settled into the Kimberley Library and worked on restoring, cataloguing and organising the rare and valuable books. But he was a greedy man, and he saw a money-making opportunity and soon started to fiddle the books for his own financial gain.
Oh shit, you shouldn't have
He
done
was
that,
soon
dude.
found out, and the shame and the thought of spending time in prison drove him to commit suicide by ingesting poison. But sadly for him, he didn't die straight away, and it was 3 agonizing days before he finally passed away.
Sheesh.
During this torturous process, he said he left his soul behind in the library he loved. Ever since, he's been spotted
Brought it upon
pacing
himself?
the halls in his Victorian
Huh?
clothing, often rearranging
Greedy mofo?
books and tidying. Today the building has been converted into the Africana Research Library and is one of the finest research libraries in South
Looks
Africa.
gorgeous though.
An old tale goes that for the librarians that work there today, if they ever need to find a book, they simply ask Dyer, and a book will suddenly fall off the shelf. So that's 5 of the most haunted places in South Africa.
Oh shit!
I hope you're enjoying all of these creepy videos.
That's pretty awesome, huh? We're going to the library like, I'd like, book A, edition B, and boom, the thing appears. That's crazy. Anyway, really cool one. Checked out the 5 creepiest and most haunted places in South Africa. Would have been cool if there was caught on cam and pictures and videos to support, the tales and the stories. But very interesting nonetheless. It's a Good Friday the 13th. Huh? Good Friday. Good Friday the 13th. Brilliant channel, top 5s. I'm going to hit the sub button right away. Keep checking out the playlist. BPG Reacts. There's some more Friday the 13th juicy, videos that's been published. Check it out. Thank you again for swinging by. Thank you for hitting the subscribe button. And thank you for the support. BPG out.